the first is always strong, like just strong and powerful. Like the presence of a black woman is always something that is noticed, like whether it be physically or what she has to say or just how she carries herself. It's always something that you notice. And she usually carries a bunch of other things, other people with her. Like she's usually the head of her family. She's usually holding down a bunch of different stuff at a different time. So, multitasking, very strong, very powerful, very present.
When I think of a black woman, I think of a strong individual. Strong.
I'll say strength,
independent, powerful, beautiful.
They persevere.
Determination, perseverance.
Very intelligent, not just smart, but like intelligent, intellectual.
Sometimes loud.
Hardworking.
Nurturing, caring.
Smart.
Loving.
Forceful. Dominant.
Independent.
They're just very driven people. So I think that they try to do better because of what all we have endured in the past. And they want to show people that they're not limited, which is what I also strive to be myself.
I think that there are different facets to how society depicts black women. There are many that see black women as being empowering individuals and pushing through obstacles and nurturing and helping their families, but there are also people that feel that black women are loud, rambunctious, ghetto. They feel that they are too much to deal with.
In the media, it's so stereotypical. It's like, oh, she ratchet, she hood, she gotta be strong, she got so many kids.
As society depicts black women as ignorant, self-conscious, because they're always trying to chase after a man and trying to be with a man. If it's not with a man, then they're unreliably, unnecessarily angry all the time.
Society depicts black women, well, based off hip hop videos. There's like sexual people, just not really. How can I put it? They're just there for sex, basically.
Society as a whole likes to depict black women on like two different extremes. Either we're very put together and like our parents are lawyers and we're smart and we have 4.0s and we have big goals like to be a doctor or a lawyer or something beautiful and amazing, which everything is beautiful and amazing, but something that is very intellectually focused, or we're either living in the projects, working on their stripper pole with like 5 baby daddies and 6 babies.
I think it's always like, it's either the loud, ghetto, wanting to fight over somebody's man all the time, black woman, very materialistic type, or it's like super strong black woman in charge of everything and never cracks a smile.
Do I agree with this? No, because I am a reflection of a black woman and I know that I'm not always that way. It's very individuality based.
I don't agree with it because we got a lot of flavors and it's not all the same.
And I do not agree with it whatsoever, but I don't agree with a lot of the stereotypes that they have about African Americans in general.
I totally disagree with all of these depictions of us because we're not always angry. If we're angry, we usually have a reason for being angry. We're not just sexual people. We have more than just our bodies, and I think that's what a lot of people just see us as, because they see us as just our having our big butts and our breasts and our hips and stuff. We're way more than that. And more people should realize that.
And I think both of those are very, very extreme because we're very dynamic people. And I don't understand why we're not depicted as dynamic characters, as dynamic types of people where we can't be different. Like there's always, you know, the woman who's in charge, some type of news anchor, some type of lawyer or something like that. There's the mother, black woman, or there's the reality show black woman. That's all we really know, and I don't think that's accurate at all.
And people legitimately like expect you to be that type of person, either really put together or really like the opposite. And it's just not like that, you know. And there are people, I mean, there are people who are, you know, who are on both ends of the spectrum, but there's never people like in the middle who are just living their lives. And no, we're not the upper crust of the black community, but we're not living in the projects either. We're just like right in the middle.
My relationship with other black women, we're close, but I have very few friends, so I keep a tight circle, but the black women within that circle, we're all very close.
Growing up, I was never accepted by, I mean, ultimately the black community of where I lived. Black women and even, you know, my own family, they didn't like me because they thought that I was too, I guess, white would be the proper term. You know, I didn't act the way a black girl would act. I didn't talk the way a black girl would act or talk. And they thought I wasn't proud of who I was. And so, I mean, it affected me to the point where it's like, how can I accept myself if the people who look like me and act like me, they can't accept me for who I am? And I mean, that is who I was. I was never ever trying to be anything that I wasn't. But it was hurtful because it was like, why you look like me, I look like you, why can't we just all embrace each other as a whole community instead of putting each other down because one person doesn't fit into your box of what a black woman should or shouldn't be?
If I have any type of negative relationship with a black woman, it's not because she's black. So there's that. But generally speaking, I get along with black women. I get along with them like colloquially, I guess. I don't have a whole lot of really good friends that are black, but the ones that I do are like amazing. So
typically can get along with any kind of person. Sometimes it might come across as me being stuck up or snobby, but I just have to really fill out a person at first. And like some black women, I feel like some black women just feel like another black woman is very competitive with them, is competing with them, and it's not even the case sometimes. So sometimes it's hard to deal with women like that, but any other circumstance, I can get along with just about anyone easily. As long as I'm open to them and they're open to me, fine.
Depends on the black woman, I suppose. There are just some black women who are just women, and we just relate very well, and so it's really strong and really close. There are other black women who I just don't understand and I just don't agree with, but I suppose it's just with all women as in general. But for black women specifically, I find that we have a better connection because we're black and because we faced a lot of, well, due to society and how we view beauty, we've all experienced some sort of self-consciousness that relates to our skin color and our facial features, and so I relate a lot to those black women, and those black women, those are the ones who I always hang with. We're strong together.
We're pretty chill. We're all the same. I think how society picked us kind of affects the relationship. Because if I'm around, like I went to a predominantly white school, so they're like, oh, you talk white. But what is talking white? I'm black. It doesn't matter how I talk. Because I talk proper. Does it mean I'm black? They're like, I'm going to take your black card. You can't do that.
I think reality show, ironically enough that it's called reality, is not an accurate representation of how black women get along with each other at all. Because all it seems to be about shopping or gossip or talk about somebody's man, and that's not it at all.
I feel that it is not an accurate depiction. When you look at media, especially social media and reality TV, that is not how all black women act. When you watch shows like Basketball Wives, or you watch shows like Love and Hip Hop, Hollywood Exes or Atlanta Exes, there's a bond between some of the women, but it's mostly catfighting, arguing about sleeping with somebody's man, or it's always drama.
But I think shows like Living Single or Girlfriends are really great, really accurate, because we're there for each other, we're very supportive of each other, and we'll check each other when we're not doing something that's right, or something that's even right for ourselves, even if it's not. Like, if it's not something that I personally would do for myself, if I know that it's not right for you, I'm gonna tell you about it. And that's what I can expect from my black female friends, and that's what I've seen in the media, and I think that's pretty accurate.
And as a culture, black women aren't like that. There are so many different versions of black women, so many great things about black women, and that is a very small window into who we really are.
I think, majority of the media, I think, portrays as other women's relationships, other black women to each other. I think they depict our relationships as negative, majority of it. But there are the few, movies or magazine photos that show black women strong together. So I feel like it's either really strong or just really combative towards each other.
I would say society and in the media mainly, they always depict black women as having negative relationships, because like it's just based off of like TV, like VH1 shows like Basketball Wives or the Love and Hip Hop shows. Like, it's always a black woman fighting another black woman over a guy, or she's talking about her because of rumors she heard, and it's like they never show the good side of women, where they go out and they're actually doing positive things and embracing things.
The relationships between black women in the media, I think like recently, like really, really recently, it's starting to open up to where we have black women who have, who are encouraging of one another, who have legitimate, true friendships that aren't taking each other down. Because I think there's so much in the community of black women where we naturally just take each other down and bring each other down and make one or the other feel inferior, when it's not supposed to be like that. And I think the media they're getting it, but most like really, really recently.
But like on the show, it was a VH1 show that I watched, and they showed black women. There was only one black. It was like one out of the whole season. They showed one scene where the black women were actually doing positive things. They were actually congratulating each other, and there should be more of that on the show, instead of less of the fighting and the nitpicking and name calling. I mean, we're way more than that.
And but in the past, it was either there wouldn't be any relationships between black women, and the relationships that there were, they would be really disrespectful, call each other hoes and bitches and all different kinds of words that the media themselves call us. So yeah.
I feel that the beauty standards for black women is based on shape, hair, and your skin complexion.
For the longest time, I believe the beauty standards were like, let us look like white girls.
I think the beauty standards that have been placed upon black women are absolutely ridiculous. Like, the older I get, the more I just question what I used to think.
Let's have beautiful, long, straight hair that just did whatever we wanted to whenever we wanted to.
Just because I might not have straight hair doesn't mean I'm beautiful. Just because it looks nappy, but it's not, it's mine.
Beauty standards? What exactly are the beauty standards for black women? Because I honestly don't really know.
It's crazy. Like, our mothers put perms in our hair when we were, like 5 years old. we don't even have all our own adult teeth yet, and we're already putting chemicals in our head to make our hair straight, to look like something that we're not. And there's nothing like wrong with if you decided to straighten your hair, but the fact that we think that that's what's best for our 5-year-olds is to put dangerous chemicals on their heads so that they can go to school and look like everybody else, that's what the problem is.
I do not feel that this is accurate because the stereotype that we inflict on our own culture harms us. If you are a extremely dark-skinned woman, you are automatically depicted as being a woman that is unattractive.
Like, is it light skin and thick with a nice butt, but not too thick, and not skinny whatsoever?
It doesn't matter how aesthetically beautiful you are, no matter how nice your hair is, considering what nice hair is, no matter how nice your shape may be, you are automatically overlooked because you are a dark-skinned woman. In our culture, if you are a fair-skinned woman, you're automatically looked at as being above the fray, or you're looked at as looking better than that pretty dark-skinned girl. It is very much a biased way of thinking. I don't agree with it. I feel that everybody has some kind of beauty about them, but at the same time, you cannot judge someone on how they look based on their skin complexion, based on the way they're shaped, or based on what their hair is like. If you have wavy hair, and you have a nice texture if you're natural, and you're light skinned, that's considered being beautiful and like embracing your roots. But if you are a fairly dark skinned woman with a pretty face, but your hair is more kinky, you're considered to be nappy headed and you need to get a perm. And that's not what we're about.
And I think, like, I think more recently with the whole like natural movement, obviously you can see I'm natural, but that Black women are starting to embrace what they have instead of trying to change it to something that they're not. I mean, I had relaxers up until the age of, 18. After I graduated high school, I decided not to put any more relaxers in my hair and just kind of embrace like what I have. It's been a struggle, but I embrace, what I have because, God gave me this, so why not use it?
I feel like it started back in the old days, with the house slaves and the field slaves, how light-skinned women were put on a pedestal and they were able to stay in the house, whereas the dark-skinned slaves, they would have to be out in the fields, cutting cotton and doing all the labor. And then as time went on, especially in our generation, it started to become a joke, but people actually take it seriously now, where that's actually their mentality, that's actually the way that they live their life.
And like, our bodies are just different, and we're a little more curvaceous, we're a little fuller figured women, and it's like, I grew up in a white neighborhood and that was always a problem for me. I had body image issues until I was like 19, and that's never okay. So I think the beauty standards that we're held to are crazy. They're ridiculous and they're very exhausting.
And I think that before, the beauty standards were very, I'm not gonna say like, they weren't necessarily possible because on everyone's hair isn't going to do the exact same thing. I mean, even white girls, Spanish girls, Middle Eastern girls, not all of their hair do the same thing. So I think that we had a very unrealistic expectation for what our hair and how we're supposed to look is supposed to be, instead of embracing what we have.
I don't think it's fair because these days, like commercials, you see more natural women and their full figures and all that. So it's changing slowly but surely.
As far as beauty standards with African American women, I think it's good that more Black women are embracing their natural hair and not wearing as much makeup because they like their natural look. I applaud them for that because it's saying they don't care what society thinks about them and they love who they are. I think more women should do that. Me, I'm not natural, but just because I'm not natural doesn't mean that I don't love myself and I don't embrace my roots and all that. But I think society see women who wear weaves and like they do all these crazy things with their hair with different colors and stuff like that. I think they feel like black women want to be white women or Hispanic women like they're doing the Brazilian type hair, and they think that they think we don't like ourselves, like a self-hatred, which is not. I just think that they just have a way of, they want to portray themselves as a way of how they see themselves. Or, yeah, I guess how they want to portray themselves. I don't think it's like a negative thing, but I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Do I agree with them? Is that the question? No, I do not agree with them. Just like I don't agree with any of how beauty is supposed to be depicted for any race or for any person or gender. You know, it makes people self-conscious. Actually, no, because I remember when I heard of the fact that thick was likable among black women, that it's okay to be thick. When I heard that, then I felt really confident in my body, because before I just thought that, being black and just being big, I thought I was fat, because I was thick. But when I hear like how black women are supposed to be thick, it's made me feel better about my size in general, and not like all skinny and sticky like the white women or the white girls. So yeah, no, yeah, it's kind of affects me in a positive way actually.
There's so many misconceptions about black women. I feel like I'm a walking misconception myself. You know, a lot of people think that we're, loud and outrageous and disrespectful.
That we're always angry, and that we are unrealistic, and that we are incapable of being sensitive and being understanding. Yeah.
And yes, I can be loud, and yes, I can be disrespectful, and yes, I have a really bad attitude, but that's not what defines me as a person. Yeah, I have a bad attitude, and yes, I might say some things that are disrespectful, but that doesn't make what I say any less true or how I feel any less real. Another misconception, I don't know, is like about our hair, that we can't get our hair wet. I mean, that's just like a whatever misconception. I mean, my hair is natural, so I don't really give a fuck. But even when I had a weave, I used to wear weaves all the time, I would get it wet. I mean, that probably wasn't good, but like, I didn't really give a fuck.
Let's see. I don't feel like I can freely express how I feel, because then I would get the stereotypical view of me being angry and being unnecessary and having my feelings not be valid if I actually said it out loud, which is why I don't say my feelings out loud. What do? I suppose I hold them in, and occasionally I'll write some poetry, and I will write music, because I write music, so I'll write some music and I'll put it in a melody in a song, but I will not talk about it out loud, because I know that I will get judged for it, especially for my skin color and for my gender, because a black female, well, they don't really know what they're talking about, really.
No, I do not. I feel like I have a outgoing personality, and if you were to take my personality and put it into my white counterpart, she would be deemed as, being silly and loud, out there, but, still cute and whatnot. But if I were to express myself, how I express myself, with my friends, having fun, it may be looked at as being ghetto, or I'll be characterized as being a ghetto person or a loud black girl. When I'm out in public, I generally keep to myself. I use my regular voice and whatnot. When I'm around my friends is when I really let loose. I don't feel comfortable to fully be myself 24/7 out in public because I feel that I'll be judged.
I mean, I've always been the type of person to do whatever I wanted without giving a shit about whether people judge me or not, because I mean, it's like about me. I'm a very selfish person. Not selfish in like a bad way, but like if I want to do something, then I'm going to do it, and you're not going to tell me whether or not I can do it. So, I mean, as a human being, I mean, I do everything. Like, I like to knit. I just recently started knitting again. I like to knit things, you know, and I mean, I write, but I don't write as much as I probably should. Um, I sing, I dance all the time, you know, I, I, I don't know. I feel like black women, we get judged so harshly for things that we do that it's like, if they're going to judge me anyways, I might as well just do it. So if I want to walk down friggin' Spring Garden and dance like I'm in a fucking musical, I'm gonna do it. And that's how I express myself. And people are gonna judge me. There's always gonna be people to judge you. So you just have to be comfortable in yourself and be comfortable in like what you do and how you feel, and just fucking do it, you know?
I talk. I feel the need to say something or express something. I'm really big on words, so I'll talk about it. I'll speak about it. Whether or not anybody's listening, that's a whole different story. But I talk about it, and I feel like I get that, you know, angry black women a lot, like a lot, even if I'm not angry. Because nine times out of 10, I'm not angry. It takes a lot for me to be angry about something. But I get the angry black women a lot, like that I'm so angry, and that's annoying. So that kind of sucks. So I don't feel like a lot of the times I get to express myself freely. No, but I still express myself.
Sometimes to express myself, I'm more of a, I like to express myself through writing, so through poetry or something like that. I don't really like to share my feelings like just by speaking to someone. I think it depends on who I'm talking to. Like if it's someone really close to me and I really care about what they say, then I sometimes may want them to tell me the truth, but I feel like sometimes they might be judging me. But I don't feel like they don't think they're judging me. But I think since I'm a very kind of sensitive person, I take it to heart. But if it was like someone just like a bystander and I asked them their opinion on something, then I probably wouldn't care too much about them judging me.
I don't think there's a specific group that I can say like this group values black women, because like you find people, I mean, people are people, so you find people who value black women in the black community, in the white community, in the Hispanic community, and you find people who devalue black women in every community. I mean, I definitely think that like it starts, you know, with your children, and that if you teach your children to value themselves and value the people in their community, that that can teach them to value black women. And I think black children definitely value black women because I mean, not all the time. I mean, like, not in my case, but like in other cases, there are children who all they have is their mother. And so when they think of a black woman, the first person they think of is their mother. And they would think, you know, they would never say anything to devalue their mother because their mother is their world. And I mean, I'm the opposite, where I had both parents growing up, but still my mother is like my everything. So the fact that like, you know, I value her with everything I have, and if anyone ever said anything terrible about them, I'd probably shoot them in the face. Like, but I think definitely black children value the shit out of their mothers, like in ridiculous ways. And like, I don't think you'd ever meet a black man who would allow you to say anything terrible about his mother.
Our fathers. know that my father values me very much. He respects me. He respects the women in our family. But outside of that, it's like a hit and miss. There are black men that will go above and beyond to display their love for black women and, call them queens and, just show that they really appreciate them. But there are also black men that make it a point to bash black women and basically make us feel that we are the scum of the earth. And if we are not mixed with something, if we're not exotic, and because we are not as submissive as other cultures, that's a stereotype also that is inflicted on us, that there's something wrong with us. With everybody else, is really a hit and miss.
Black women, because nobody else understands us like we are.
Black women, because we live it every day, all day. By far, I think black women value ourselves the most. I think black women value black women the most, and I think black women are the group that values themselves the most. And I won't debate it.
I would say, that's a very good question. What is that I use most? Okay, then I would say children. I would say children because not only does a black woman, the mother or aunt or whoever it is may be, they're the ones that raise them and teach them how to grow up and be successful and how to be just a good person in general. And then the kids if the black woman is a good role model, then the kids they see what they need to be doing to. Because I mean, sometimes with black men, I think they don't realize exactly what they have. Sometimes they take us for granted. But that could be any man, really. And some women, they just, again, the competition thing, and they just don't appreciate or want to interact with each other because it's always conflict sometimes.
Okay, I think the older black males really value black women the most because they're the ones who are most affected by the black women. They're the ones who interact with black women. I wouldn't say that the black woman values the black woman the most because due to things like self-hate and there are other factors I think that are biased towards how black women feel about each other. But I think that the black man, they are the older black men, they are affected by the black woman the most, and older black males are wise enough and smart enough to acknowledge and to take into consideration of how important a black woman is. Yeah. I think the media. I really think the media. The media. Oh boy. Devalues black women most. Yep. The media. Media is the cause for everything.
I think I would just say men in general with that one. Because I think, like I said before, men sometimes don't really appreciate or understand what it is like to be a black woman. And I think maybe they sometimes don't realize, yes, it's hard to be a black man in society, but I think it's more difficult to be a black woman since we're not only are we're two minorities, we're only black, but we're also a woman, so we're like casted below them. So they sometimes don't realize that instead of them trying to embrace us and love us and build us up, the way I don't want to say them going outside of their race and being with like a white woman or Hispanic woman is like being disrespectful to us, but it's like they find that more beautiful sometimes. And it's like they call us names, and seeing the way they portray us in like media and stuff like that just lets us sometimes know what they really feel about us.
I mean, I don't think it's like black men. I mean, there are black men who devalue black women, but I mean, I couldn't tell you. I don't think that, like I said previously, there's no set answer, because people are going to value and devalue whoever the fuck they want, and in every community, in every type of way. So I don't think so.
Society, but we are society. Everyone.
Black men, because you see it all day, every day, and it's like, because you see it on Twitter and Instagram and just in regular everyday life. Oh, she's too black, or she's too thin, she's too fat, she's not thick enough, she's not this, she's not that. And it's just like a lot of what comes from a lot of our self-love has to begin with undoing what we've been told by black men. Like we have to start with, no, it's not right what he said, before we even get to love yourself. And that's how we have to teach our daughters. That's how we have to teach ourselves. And we have to undo what the black man did a lot of the times, and it's really unfortunate. Now there are lots of beautiful black men who appreciate us, but the ratio is still way off.
I feel that it is a tie between black men and black women. I feel that we have had issues with white people for an extremely long time, but at the same time, we put too much into hating them for what their ancestors did instead of looking into the mirror as to what we do to ourselves. I cannot remember the last time a white person has offended me by something that they've said about my skin color or like about the way that I've looked. But day before yesterday, I was offended by a black man for making a remark about black women, saying how stupid we are or how easy we are, and how it is a goal for him to get somebody outside of our race to know that he's really made it or that it's an accomplishment. I've never had somebody white say that to me. I've never really had somebody white offend me to that manner. And I'm not saying that people of other races don't offend me from time to time, but when it comes to the self-hate, it definitely comes from black males, and the self-hate comes from black women who feed into what they say.
I don't think black women as a whole contribute to self-hate or anything like that. I think that there are some of us, like, some who make fun of women with natural hair, and that's counterproductive, to say the least. Because, how are you going to make fun of somebody whose hair looks just like yours and then he's all that wet and wavy, and it's like, that's self-hate. But it's not all of us, you know what I mean? It's not every black woman, so I don't think so. And I think black women do a really good job, collectively, generally, of uplifting our race, especially black men. We're always there for them, so no, I think we contribute to it.
Of course we do. I feel like black women like to talk about how they don't want to play into it and they're above the fray. And they feel that all women are beautiful, but at the same time, we will bash each other. And some of our first insults will be about what we look like, what our skin color is, what our hair looks like. That's the first thing that we go for. It's very double-sided. And I feel like, although we don't want to feed into it, if it's something that is favoring, if the statement is favoring what we are, then we'll go along with it. And the only time that we don't want to go along with it is when it's a statement that's not favoring us. Like, as a brown skin girl, if somebody were to come to me and be like, I love brown skin girls, I only like brown skin girls, they're the prettiest of them all. If I were that kind of person, I would be like, that's true, thank you for, embracing the black woman. But if somebody were to come to me and say, only light-skinned women are pretty, that's when I would have a problem.
I think definitely. I mean, you know, we go out into the world, and I mean, being a girl in general, being a woman in general, is tough. I mean, it's difficult. And being a black woman in general is, I mean, being black is difficult. And so putting the two of them together, it's hard when you are trying to be empowered and you're trying to be strong and by yourself and independent, and then you have all these little birds in your ear telling you that you're not good enough and that no one will ever love you and that you're not pretty enough if your hair was straighter, if your skin was lighter, then all these things will fall into place. And I think that, you know, instead of, I mean, it goes back to the media and the society thing where we are constantly getting bombarded with women who are either very disrespectful and hustle and bustle and work on stripper poles and all that fun stuff, or, you know, upper crust society who act white, that we are confused and we're conflicted on who we are, because we're like, the society tells me this, but I believe that, and it's really difficult. And so I think that black women as a whole, that we we feel some type of way about ourselves, and because we feel some type of way about ourselves, we put that on other people to make them feel some type of way about themselves and make them feel inferior, just so we can say, hey, that person is darker than me and her hair looks messed up, but at least I have A, B, C, and D together. When that's not the case, we should all be encouraging each other and being there for each other, because it's difficult and we're all dealing with the same shit. We're all dealing with the same shit. It's just how we interpret it and how we deal with it that makes a difference.
Yes, because I'm guilty of myself. Sometimes I play along around with my friends. I know I shouldn't. I'm like, well, they think I'm this way. Might as well give them ratchet if they don't ratchet. But I know it's wrong. And I try to educate people about the different sides of black women.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so, because I think it's like it all comes back. It's a whole circle. It's a cycle, really. It's like a cycle, really, because I feel like the way that the media and the society views or depicts a woman and what they're supposed to be, I feel like that women fall into that, and we enforce it really among ourselves because we think that that is supposed to be what is right. So I think that we definitely contributed to that. Definitely.
Um, what can black women do to stop the cycle of self-hate?
I think that
Say that's a yes and no question. I think it really depends on the person. Because there are a lot of black women who they're very ethnocentric, I would say, and how can I put this? Yeah, that's a yes and no. I think that the no for some women, no, is because they embody who they are. They embody everything about them, and they love themselves. And they don't see. They don't. I don't feel like. I think everyone can find a flaw, but they look past that flaw and they embrace it, and they find some way to make it stand out and make it appealing to them and to everyone else. As far as the yes, I think some people do hate them. Do have a lot of self-hate within them, and they just haven't come to terms with themselves and just learn to accept themselves and love themselves, which is really sad. But I hope that a lot more women can, get past that.
To start the cycle, use education and practice what we preach would be the main one. In our everyday life, in our online lives too.
if we how to stop the cycle of self-hate. I think that if we all just accepted the fact that we are the way that we are, and we are who we are, and that no matter what that is, it's beautiful, and accepting, it's acceptable to be who you are, I think that that would just eliminate self-hate altogether. I mean, if we all just agreed that our normal is a beauty, then I think that that would eliminate it completely if we just were strong enough to do it.
If more women would stop talking about each other and encouraging one another and doing more positive things together and just, you know, being there for one another instead of always thinking everything's a competition between us, then I think a lot of things would change.
I mean, first of all, love yourself. Look in the mirror and, you know, just say, yeah, my hair's kinky and curly and nappy, but like, I love it. I love me. And like, yeah, I have a big ass and big titties, but it's like, I love me. I love the way I look. I mean, I personally love the way I look, so it's like, it starts with you, because if you don't love yourself, then how can you expect to give love to other people when you don't even love yourself? And so first, just embrace who you are and love yourself, and then show that to other Black women, and show that to everybody. I mean, everybody deserves to be loved, and if you don't, I mean, especially Black women, and if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I mean, like, I'm terrible at that, but you need to start somewhere. And I just think that we just need to empower and encourage each other, because it's tough being in this world and being a Black woman. Like, it's difficult as hell. And we all together as one just need to come together and embrace each other and love everything about ourselves, and your sisters and your mothers and your aunts and your grandmothers, and just love and respect each other.
I've been thinking about that a lot. I don't know, I think it's important that we keep on uplifting Black men, even though, you know, some of them don't seem to appreciate it or even know that that's what we're doing or pay it any attention. But it's important that we keep doing that, and it's really important that we focus on our younger generation, because, you know, there's still time to change their minds. They haven't, you know, been taught what we've been taught or teaching ourselves or whatever. So they're still young, still impressionable, and so I think it's important that we focus on them, on our younger Black girls, and let them know that they're beautiful, their natural hair is beautiful, their skin is beautiful, and focus on younger boys too, to tell them that they're beautiful, and that women's natural hair is beautiful, and that, you know, there's nothing wrong with appreciating women, appreciating Black women, appreciating themselves.
Understand it's a problem. And understand what the problem is. The problem isn't how outsiders view us. It's more about how we view ourselves and how we feed into it. If you don't find an issue with what people say as far as our race and the way that we look, as long as it doesn't pertain to you, or as long as it's in favor of you, then you're never going to understand and want to fix it. I feel that once you're able to understand that although you're not the darkest girl in the room, it's so offensive for somebody to say that that girl is ugly because of her skin color, or just because you're not the lightest girl in the room, you understand that there are many different things to go on besides skin color and characteristics of your body. You'll be able to understand and want to make a change.